The donuts have arrived. It's never truly the movie awards until the Tim Hortons donuts are here. And you can't see them because there's a lip on the box, but I assure you, they are here and they are ready to be consumed. It is the second day of filming for the 2021 Justin and Tyler Movie Awards, which means it is main event time for Top 30 Best Movies of 2021, but that's not what this video is. This video, we shine the focus a little bit on ourselves, but mostly it's on you. Throughout the year, I like to solicit friends, fans, viewers, listeners, all kinds of fun stuff to try to find out what your favorite movies of 2021 have been, to see if we can come to some kind of crowdsourced consensus on the people's choice for the best movie of 2021, and that is exactly what I've done throughout the year. I've got the data, it's right here on my phone. He knows absolutely nothing about it because I do everything I can to prevent him from seeing this so that it's more of a surprise to him and I get more genuine reaction from him by letting him know what you think the best movies are, and then we go ahead in the next 12 to 14 hours worth of videos and just tell you what the actual best movies of the year are. What we'll also be doing after we do that is we're going to be giving our honorable mentions. That'll be a part of this video as well before we get into our straight up top 30 best movies of 2021. But first, through the magic of editing, we're going to take a donut break. Now that we've been successfully fueled by donuts, it is time. You might want to squint your eyes a little bit because the spotlight is firmly on you. The people's choice for best movie of 2021. Once again, Tyler's coming into this completely blind. What I will say, compared to last year, we got about 12.5% more respondent this year versus what we had last year.
We got popular.
We got popular, and that's good because it gives at least a more accurate picture.
I'm a bit of a dick in this video, but it's as a joke.
It's the whole reason this video exists is to make me look better by osmosis because it makes you look worse.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're starting at the bottom here of the collective list. Each one of these movies that I'm going to mention is a movie that received just over 1% of the overall support. So that's kind of the way that we characterize this is how much support did each of these movies get sort of by percentage. So this is literally 1.01%, so just barely over 1%. So this is a rather large collection of movies that would all be tied for what I would call 17th place overall.
So let me react individually to each one instead of like the whole list, because I'll forget.
Absolutely. So Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
Saw a lot of love for that this year, so I guess.
Belfast.
Yeah, maybe like an artsy darling, I suppose.
Belfast is one that I think will come up in some kind of conversation in a little bit. Coda.
I don't know enough about Coda. I saw critical reception. No, I'm gonna say no. I can't see it.
Encanto. That makes sense. Disney movie.
Disney movie.
The Fear Street trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, horror fans got a treat with that trilogy this year.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Built-in Ghostbusters fandom, sure.
Good on Paper.
What is that?
I'm not sure.
Wait, I might have seen that, actually.
Did you?
I'm going to look it up later.
All right. In and of Itself.
Which one's that?
I don't know. I don't think I looked that one up.
It sounds, I don't know, whatever.
Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, I mean, that'd go right.
I kind of hoped for more support from that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's weird.
Luca, which is an animated movie.
Pixar.
The Many Saints of Newark.
I mean, there's the Sopranos fans. Okay.
Matrix Resurrections.
I don't know if this is going to come up later, so I don't know how much I want to say, but I guess because it is the Matrix, it has that built-in thing, so sure.
One Night in Miami.
I guess it's kind of a weird pick for the best movie of the year, but what do I know?
Where technically it's a cheater from last year, but...
Yeah, it's very cool. Good for them, or whatever. Whoever voted for that.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny about that movie? I always forget that came out this year.
Yeah. It feels like a movie from last year.
Every time it pops up, I'm like, oh yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit, and I forgot it came out this year.
Red Notice.
I mean, look, you got my girl, Gal Gadot. You have our boy, The Rock. You have Ryan Reynolds. I mean, that's a cast, so sure, why not?
Reminiscence.
Oh, man. Okay, I gotta say this. I don't know if this comes up later.
Okay.
Cult classic sci-fi. I think years from now, if you Google, like, underrated sci-fi or whatever, I think Reminiscence
will wind up on that
I think it will, but I'll probably be wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But it is surprising that it's someone's favorite movie, but even with all that said.
The Father.
I mean, that was, like, being praised all over the place, was it not?
I believe so.
I never saw it.
The Green Knight.
A24.
The Tomorrow War.
Really?
See, that's the kind of reactions that I wait for.
What do you just like Chris Pratt?
I guess.
Is that enough? Are you a big Chris Pratt guy? If so, let me know.
Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Tick, Tick, Boom.
Sure, why not?
And Without Remorse.
That came out. No, real? What? Okay, I mean, good for you, but I cannot, in any universe, ever imagine being like, that was the best movie.
Like, I mean, if that was the only movie you saw.
Yeah, maybe.
That's
like, I watched it and I didn't hate it, I don't think. But I didn't overly like it. But it's not my... It doesn't come down to what I think about a movie. It's just that's a weird one to be like, that's my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah. All right, we're taking a jump up now. This is a collection of movies tied for 12th that received just over 2% of the vote. Judas and the Black Messiah.
I mean, yeah, if you're like a serious movie guy, then you'll probably think, or girl, quite highly of that. Sure, why not?
Gunpowder Milkshake. It's a great name.
Yeah, no, it's a great name and an okay movie.
Okay.
Just, I can't see it, that's all.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Solidarity.
There you go. Don't Look Up.
Yeah, sure, why not?
And Black Widow.
Yeah, superhero.
Superhero.
Right, even if it, well, we'll probably talk about Black Widow. Sure, superhero.
Gonna take another jump up here now to just over 3% of the support. Tied for 9th. 007 No Time to Die.
Sure.
Built-in Bond fans,
Yeah.
makes sense. The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, superhero again.
Yeah, and certainly I think an upgrade over the last
Yeah, oh my lord, yes.
and Jungle Cruise.
Favorite movie of the year?
I guess Disney built it. So.
Yeah, I suppose.
All right, now we get into the bigger ones. This is stuff that was tied for 5th. So any of these could make an argument as in a top 5. With just over 4% apiece. The Harder They Fall.
I didn't actually see that.
And I mean 4%. 4% of the overall support.
There's a groundswell of support there that I was unaware of, honestly. So I thought that movie, not that I'm some authority, just kind of came and went. But I guess apparently, a lot of people held on to it.
The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Zach loves that movie.
Yes. Shout out to our boy Zach. I assume he usually watches these. So.
He wanted me to watch it, and I just never got around to it.
Okay.
There was always something when I sat down and watched a movie that I wanted to watch more. Which is probably a tragedy, honestly.
But. The Eternals. Superhero. And Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Superhero as well. So again, you always get that superhero contingent of support. Now, all alone in fourth place, with just over 5% of the overall support, is The French Dispatch. Which, I mean, we've talked about The French Dispatch a couple of times in stuff that we recorded yesterday, and that was, again, one of the more recent movies that I've seen, so if you're really into that Wes Anderson aesthetic, I can totally get.
That's always, anytime he releases a movie, there's going to be a lot of people that treat it like a darling because it's Wes Anderson and he has a history of quality.
Absolutely. All Alone in third, with 6% of the support. This is going to be an interesting one for you, and I think you're going to have maybe not a vitriolic response to this, but you're going to have.
Am I going to have an aneurysm?
I think so.
Oh no.
Free Guy.
Free Guy! You guys suck.
Okay, maybe it is a vitriolic response.
I wanted to be there in that group with you guys. Mm-hmm. With that said, I don't like that movie. But with that said, I know that there was a lot of people that really, really liked that movie, and so I am not at all surprised that.
And a contingent of you, because that was one of the movies that movie suffered delays. Yeah. Obviously, due to the panini,
right.
So like people that just like, oh god, give me my Free Guy, I want my Free Guy.
I'm always happy when people like movies. Even though I poo on you guys and girls, but I'm not surprised by this one.
No. Second overall, and second alone in second overall, with 10.1% of the vote, is Dune.
Did you say that's the second?
That's number 2.
I predicted that.
Did you predict that to be number 2?
I also predicted The French Dispatch within the top 5, maybe 4th.
Yeah, you might have. So you might.
I'm doing pretty good. We should have said this on camera.
I guess.
I'm doing pretty good.
That's not bad.
5.
You're mostly in tune.
My Free Guy should have, but I wasn't in tune with Free Guy. Anyway, Dune. Look, Sci-Fi. Denis Villeneuve.
Massive.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And the runaway number 1
Spider-Man
is going to be Spider-Man No Way Home. Just over 22% of the overall support. So a jump from 10.1 to 22.22. So a pretty sizable leap in support for our friend Spoderman.
The least surprising one of all of those.
I would say so.
I predicted it. I predicted 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, in the top 5. So that's
not bad.
That's pretty good. You're 60% in tune with the masses, and by the masses I mean, well, more
fair amount of people. You don't tell them. You just
say
my audience.
It's you. So again, as every year, we thank you very much if you contributed in any way to me asking and pestering you about your favorite movies of 2021. I appreciate that very much. Of course, we'll be doing that again next year. So if you want your opportunity to be made fun of, keep your eye out for that in 2022.
It's actually like a solid top 5.
It's pretty.
You know what? Good job.
Yeah,
people.
It's pretty realistic. I think a tiny round of applause.
The masses created a decent top 5.
Exactly. So. Feels like a more, I don't want to say more legitimate number 1 than last year, but a more expected number 1 by far.
What was number 1 again last year?
Bill and Ted.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason that just keeps, that's funny. That's funny.
And as I mentioned off the top, we're going to cap off this video with our honorable mentions. Get into the movies that just barely missed the cut for us. I'm willing to bet he's going to have more than I do. So what I might do is I'm going to get mine out of the way first, get off the train tracks, and then just kind of let you go.
Well, to be fair, I actually have a top 10 honorable mentions.
Okay.
It's exactly 10, not planned. I could have done 20, 30, but I was like, it gives away too much.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 4, so it's not unreasonably more than what I wind up having.
I might even shorten it when I'm reading it, just because I don't want to give away much.
So, my honorable mention, so just missing out on the top 30 movies of 2021 for me, is Halloween Kills, The Courier, Dark Whispers Volume 1.
What is that?
And PVT Chat, which Tyler mentioned actually on an episode earlier. Yeah. So Halloween Kills, obviously the most recent in the Halloween franchise. I kind of struggled with some of the creative choices that the movie made. Like, I'm not sure at this point whether Michael is even human anymore.
No, I don't think.
Because, I don't think he is. No, but I don't know when that transition happened from him no longer being at least somewhat human. He just seems like he's just sort of full-fledged alien creature at this point.
Yeah.
I found the performances to be like intensely melodramatic in the movie, and I'm like, I don't necessarily know that that was the best choice.
I just straight up, I just didn't even like the movie.
No?
No, like I didn't despise it.
Right.
But I didn't even like it.
No. And it makes some surface level commentary on like the mob mentality, where it's just like kind of like baby's first introduction to mob mentality, which I get and I can kind of appreciate because it's supposed to be sort of satirizing it a little bit.
Evil dies tonight.
The evil dies tonight. But I found like the quality of the kills went up in this one, so I'm like, that's at least something.
Yeah.
And I can't sit here and say that I didn't enjoy myself watching Halloween Kills, so it's definitely on there. The Courier was that one with Benedict Cumberbatch about the British informant in Soviet Russia. It was authentic, like it felt authentic to the time period, like the Cold War time period, but very by the numbers. I didn't really think it didn't present anything that we hadn't already seen at some point in the past. It lacked a little bit of suspense that you would kind of expect from something like that, but like the reason that it winds up on this list is almost entirely because of Benedict Cumberbatch. Like just because of his performance that he could put out in his role, it wound up not being good enough to make the top 30, but at least worth mentioning. Dark Whispers Volume 1 is a horror anthology. It's kind of lower budget. It wasn't made in the UK, but it's an anthology of like 10 horror-based short films.
Oh, I might have watched that if I knew about it.
Yeah, and it was very Peak and Valley. Like some of them were really good. Like the art style that they used was like just really, really fascinating. It was almost like a second tier like Isle of Dogs.
Okay.
So it kind of felt like that. And then there was another one that was just screwed up. A guy captures a mermaid and just keeping it in his garage. Like it's just the visuals of it is just like really messed up. Yeah, but it's not like the beautiful mermaid that everyone would expect. It's just this horrible fish creature.
Okay.
So it's like those were really good. And then there were some other ones that were just didn't really hit for me. So if there was more consistency in which one of those shorts hit for me, then it absolutely would have wound up making the list. But it was just a little too Peak and Valley. Told a good story, but you know, there were issues with it for sure. And then PVT chat, like you had mentioned in an earlier episode. I want to make the comment that everybody who plays blackjack in movies sucks at blackjack, but thinks they're great.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what this character is. And it's funny because you can almost relate to the Jack character in a weird way, because every guy has been in that position where he's lying about what he does to impress a woman. Everyone has been in that position. Now this guy is a wholly unlikable edgelord, but what we figure out is both of them are horrible people.
Yeah.
So it's like once we kind of have the swing that both of them are bad people, it's like, okay, I kind of enjoy this more because it's not like he's a bad person exclusively, like she's a bad person as well. So the movie weirdly takes some kind of uptick at that point, but it was the last one that got chopped off my list. But I just the couple that were there at the bottom of the top 30, I thought I enjoyed just a little bit more than that. But I do have to give props to PVT chat for kind of coming out of nowhere. I sort of expected it to be in that very middling range, so it wound up obviously being better than that.
All right, and now my honorable mentions: Cliff Walkers, The Swordsman, Cherry, Pink Skies Ahead, Nobody, The Guilty, Seance, Psycho Gorman.
Okay.
Psycho Gorman was actually quite fun. It was like a surprise early on in the year. It was like a B movie, but it was actually really funny.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna ruin the ending, but so he starts feeling whole because he's discovered the power of love, and you kind of think it's like, oh, what a nice end, and then he's still like, and now I'm going to use it to go destroy the galaxy. And then he starts doing it.
Is it like a Scott Pilgrim sword? Scott's discovered the power of love.
It's just funny. It's a funny B movie that is legitimately funny.
Okay.
And I actually ended up seeing it in like best movie lists because it is funny. I've seen so many movies that it got cut off, but it still made the honorable mentions by the end of the year. And it was like a January movie, I think.
Oh, wow.
Maybe February, I can't remember. And with Cherry, it was actually the Russos directing, like a non-superhero thing. And I actually think it's much better than it's given credit for. And Tom Holland was really good in it. Pink Sky's Ahead I talked about. Nobody we talked about. I thought it was good. The Guilty was a remake of a movie from a couple years ago that I liked more. I don't know if you've seen this, but so don't ruin it, I guess. But if you haven't, it had Jake Gyllenhaal as the main guy.
Yeah.
Which I loved, and I loved his performance. But I had just seen the original like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, so I'm like, I didn't need this remake.
Right.
It's just a lesser version. Although the twist in it is so like heart-wrenching and disgusting that I forgot that it was there, so when I had to experience it a second time, I was like, oh yeah, right.
That.
And Seance was kind of like a fun little horror movie that I gave credit to the soundtrack especially. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Cliff Walker's and The Swordsman, both like foreign movies. It's a good bunch of honorable mentions if I say so myself.
It is. Stuff that very easily could have made a top 30.
Yep.
If somebody hadn't watched 1,044 movies this year.
Every movie ever made this year.
Exactly. Anything that was put on film this year, he's seen it. There you have it, folks. The People's Choice Award for the best movies of 2021, as well as our honorable mentions in our top 30 lists for the best movies of 2021. That's going to wrap things up for this video, but right around the corner, the first part of our 3-part main event, our top 30 best movies of 2021, kicking things off with movies number 30 through number 21. And without further ado, let's get started.